Good morning. Today I'd like to show you my wood cook stove, my antique wood cook stove. It's an OG Thomas. This stove was made in Taunton, Massachusetts. This one was a Herald C. And Taunton was famous for their foundries, and they made all kinds of stoves, all the popular ones in New England, Northeast. Here's a couple tools that are invaluable for this stove. This here, you know, this, some people have this, use this, some people don't. I like it, but you got to watch out. It'll pick up all the grates. You know, if you're not careful, sometimes they'll fall off and the fire's not cool. Your lid lifters. This is a tool that everybody should have. This one here goes underneath the stove. It cleans out all the ash after you clean it. Poker for moving wood around inside here. They're simple things. Most people that have these already have some kind of tool like this. It's a very valuable tool. In here is your ash box. That comes out. My clean out door is right in there. And I put a little lever on it so I could get it easy. And I get it like that. And that cleans underneath the oven. So today I'm going to clean this. I usually do this twice a winter just to keep it so that it heats better under the stove. It makes it bake a little easier. You start getting ash. So what I like to do is take this one, that one, that there, that guy, that guy. And as you can see, it's light here, very fine ash here, and it gets darker as it gets in there. In the chambers here, I'll put a light on here. You can see, not bad. I seen one video where a gentleman opened his up and you could barely see through it, so his is pretty bad. And here it's a lot darker, but it's still, there's plenty of passage for smoke. But I like to clean all this off. It makes the oven get a little better, bakes a little much finer. I don't get a lot of creosote in my chimney. I have, if you look up here, it's a metal chimney, goes all the way up. It's about 15 feet high. It draws unbelievable. So I really don't have a problem like I used to have in my old house, where if it was cloudy or low front coming through, it really smoked a lot. And this door here is when you're lighting a fire, you want this open like this. This is getting replaced this year. It's kind of getting old, you know, and it's just, you kind of get some air through here, but it's not something I can live with right now. And you can see it opens up like that, and when you close it, it locks up like that, and very little air gets through here. And then it forces it down here, under the chamber, up like this, and then out and up through the chimney. You know, it's pretty efficient. It burns, I mean, I burn a lot of wood if I'm going to use it. I burn real dry wood. I don't burn wet wood or green wood. That's why you see it so kind of, so it's not airtight, but I don't get a big creosote problem. When I clean this like later in September, it's just ash. I'll take this off here, the warming shelves. I'll take that right off, and then I'll tie a contractor bag here, and I have a tool, kind of looks like a weed whacker, and I cut a hole in the bag, and there's lengths of it, and it goes all the way up to the top. You use a drill and you just keep using it until you go up and down, up and down. Usually I end up with, you know, maybe a pound of dry ash like that, kind of like that. But I really like this stove. I mean, we don't heat completely with it, but it does subsidize the heat. I have forced the hot air here, and if you set it at 65, that's it, it's 65. It doesn't seem warm. If you light this here, keeps the house at 70, and it's different heat. Really like it. I've had this since the late 70s. It was in pretty bad shape. When I got it, it had coal. It was a coal burner, and you had a coal grate in here, so this warps here, and I had a crack in the back. And, you know, originally they had probably a water heater here. They had pipes running through, and it was in pretty bad shape, but I used it anyways. And then in the 90s, I took it to a stove. There's one here on the Cape, and one in Rhode Island. There's one in Western Mass. I think there's one in Maine. They restore these. They take them completely apart. Everything comes apart. And I asked him about the warp. He said, no, not a problem. He says, that'll, he says, that comes right out. And he was right. When it was done, it was just absolutely beautiful. So they work great. You know, they do work great. The newer stoves, you have your Pioneer Princesses and your, Elmira stoves. They're fantastic. They're really, if you want efficiency and that's the one to go. These work great. I'm happy with this. I've had it so long, I can't give it. I actually have another one in my shed. It's a Home Comfort, and that one needs to be restored, but I probably never will. But we picked it up for a song, so I figured we'd try it. If people like this video, I bake beans in this, so maybe I'll do one with how to make homemade beans, and they work really good. I actually have a magazine. Get this thing out. This book here I've had since the 70s. This is a newer one, but I've got another one from the late 70s, and it's got great recipes. If someone wants to use one of these, it tells you all about the stoves, what to do, what kind of wood, how to use wood and different things. It's good book, really good. Especially if you're learning how to use these things. And that's basically it. We heat it here. Like I say, this heats the whole house. Use a ceiling fan. It blows it right around. And it's really well worth the thing. So and my next thing is I'll show you how to clean one of these. Okay, so I'm going to take this tool, and I like to run it down here like this. And you can see I don't really have a great light for this. It's basically just scraping off the soot there. It's the same on the other side. It goes down so far. You can actually feel down here the back side of the underside of this oven. One more time. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it gets the most of it. Like I say, I don't have a lot of creosote buildup on this stove, so it's easy to clean. And then you can see inside there, much cleaner. I could probably do a little in the corner there, but I'm not going to worry about it today. It's pretty well clean. So then I come over to here. And you'll see what comes out of this. It's kind of cool when you figure it. So I take this piece, I run it in here, all the way in. And you can see it's just it's actually a fine powder. I know one of the new stoves that they make, I think they changed it now. Originally this clean out door was in the back of the stove, which wasn't a great idea, especially if you had your stove close to a wall. So I know they've changed that now, and it makes it a lot easier. So some of these old stoves had the clean out door in the front, someone underneath. They're really, but great. As you can see, it's not a lot. it's not really not a lot of stuff. It's just a fine, fine powder. You can see it's just very fine. If you're pumping out like black creosote, sticky, then I would say that your wood is wood is wet, green, or it's damped down way too much. I don't really dampen this down. I mean, I don't leave it. I'll fill it with wood before we go to bed, and then that's it. I'm not worrying about it being, going in the morning. I'll set a furnace to maybe, 50. And that if it's that colder than that, it'll go on. But that's how you clean up. Really easy, like I say. And then I'll vacuum the top of this, and then just keep it nice and clean. Your oven is here. They had a great way of doing it. There's this thing here. It looks just like a shoehorn. You can see it right there. See there? And if you came over with a pot, you just hit that, the door opened up. It's beautiful. Great idea. I mean, they really, for the time, they really had it pretty good. My thermometer in the front is broken, so what I do here is my thermostat, we put up one here when we're cooking. But as you see, you just push that little lever down with your foot. You can put the thing in there. Sometimes I'll take this down here and I have 4 pieces of brick. We'll put it there, and so we get a little lower. Cook everything, turkeys, you name it. It just works really great. I say that one doesn't work anymore, but still looks good. It's a great stove. So I'll vacuum this out, and then I'll show you how to light. As you can see, they vacuumed it out. It's pretty clean. Does a good enough job for now. It's just want it nice and clean in there, down in here. That's all clean under there. You can see that little door under there, how it just goes. It's like 2 little chambers. And that's really it on that. You just put your plates back on, and you're good to go. Put this on. This little guy. And this guy. Okay, so when I light this, I have the damper open, this damper open, that's closed, that's open. I keep the door open like this. It just gives it a lot of air, so it makes it easier. And just any kind of scrap paper, newspaper. Newspapers work really good. Just had this junk laying around, so. You take this and you cover it. Again, this guy here is really good. You can get these some places. You'll see them. I got this at the guy that restores them. I think I had an original one, but it broke, so I just bought it. This one was made recently, and like I said, they work really good. You can do a single cover with it, or you can lift both of them. You want that door open. So this vent right here, I never use that vent unless I want to cool the flame. So if you think your stove is going to get cherry red up here, if you start seeing it glowing, you're going to open that there, and that's going to basically force air over the flame. Cool the flame, it'll cool this down, believe it or not, and it'll make a difference. Some wood is so I have is so dry that it'll really, heat up quick, so I don't want to warp that. And this thing will start ticking. I say I've been using this, for a long time, and easy to use, really easy. Like I say, they're they're not as efficient as, you know, as the brand new ones, but they, you know, they do just such a great job that, you know, it's well worth, you know, if you're going to invest in one of these. But make sure that it's in good shape. I've seen some guys on there, and it's kind of shaky. I wouldn't light it, you know, use it in the house. Although I did use a junky one when I was young and dumb. But you know, to have this restored, at the time in '91, I think it was, or two, it was $1,300 to restore the whole thing. And so, you know, realistically, you know, you could, if you were going to sell it, you could probably get $3,000 for them. So, you know, it's like anything, you got to invest in them if you wanted to sell it. You know, you see guys with the old junky ones, and they'll say, "Oh, I want $1,000." You'll see them on Craigslist and places like that. You know, you get what you pay for, and if it's old and it hasn't been restored, you know, you're better off just buying. You know, the guys that restore them are only going to pay $300 for a stove. You know, they're not going to give you $1,000 for a piece of junk, because they're going to take it apart. If they're really bad, they use it for pots. You know, it just makes a big, like some of this, when I had it, this plate was cracked. So he fixed it, but he had another pot. This was actually an enamel stove, and he sandblasted it off, and it makes it. But now you can hear it ticking, and you'll see it's really going now. And as you can see, the flame is going up and in that way. Some come in the back there, and if you look here, it's actually getting sucked up the flue. And so you can hear it going. I can shut that. A couple of pieces of this. Like I say, this thing really runs good. It's a great stove. And when we built this new chimney in here, I mean, it just made it. It really draws. Some people, their chimneys draw so good that they actually put 2 of these in. I don't need it. I never used that check draft right there. I don't use that. That kind of puts air into the thing. I don't like doing that. I want that I'd rather have the chimney staying nice and hot. Keeps the creosote down. So I'll put another one in here. Like this hardly ever smokes. I never get a real backdraft out of this, and that's mainly because of the chimney itself. And but you know, it can happen. You know, but I've never had a problem with it. You know, it'll smoke now if you open it up, because you kind of get rid of the suction of it. So as you can see, there's no flame coming down here. I'll let that just go for a second. It's all going up that chute. So what I will do now, this lever here, and now you can actually see the flame is actually going. It's going to start coming down. You can see the smoke going down there. See how it's sucking the smoke down? Now that's going around the oven. So now it's going down this chamber and up and out. And then the whole stove will start ticking again, and it'll tick in different spots as it heats up. Now some people will say, "Oh, you got wood over behind the stove. That's a fire hazard." The amount of wood, when I'm using this here, that wood is not, the heat for the firebox is right here. This is not, it's going to get warm but not hot. It'll be hot over here but not bad. All the heat is up in here. I mean, the whole stove heats up, but you know, I'm not worrying about it burning the wood, catching on fire. It's not a big thing for me. But again, you don't have to do it there. I just find it's easy to put right there. And so, you know, that's basically it. They're fun to use. Like I say, if people like this video, I get enough of it, I'll be making some homemade beans in it. And I'll show how that recipe. I just found my old book. This is the one from the 70s. It's all stained and everything, and you can see. And it's a great book, though. Inside are lots of recipes, different stuff. It's just a fun little book. Gives you a lot of information on, where to get wood. Obviously, most people will know, but what type of wood burns the best and all that. So it's a good little book. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I'm just kind of playing around. I'm new to YouTube, so I'm learning from my mistakes. And hopefully you guys like this. Thank you.